Welcome everyone. Here's my video of the Tamiya Avante with the differences between the original 1988 Mark 1 and the 2011 re-release version. These are the differences that I've noticed myself. There may be others that I'm not aware of or have forgotten about as well doing these builds. Definitely appreciate your feedback and comments. Thank you. You can also check out my other videos of the building of both these cars. Yeah, it's definitely worth a look. Thanks. Also, here's a quick picture of when I've done the refurbish on the original 1988 Mark 1 Avante. Yeah, very cool. So I'll start with the differences between the boxes. Yes, my original 88 box is not the best box around, but yeah, they are probably pretty rare. So in the corner of the box gives you a bit of a description of this vehicle. Going up to the re-release box, it does say improved re-release version of the Avante from 1988. Pretty cool. Here's a bit of a layout with the car itself. You can see the battery and the speed controller, receiver and the motor. Down to the re-release version. I like how it says on the original box, this is not an entry-level RC model. Yeah, that is definitely true. Yeah, there's a lot involved with building these vehicles. Yeah, definitely not the first Tamiya you should start with. Here's one side of the boxes. Here's the end of the boxes. I'll just do one end because both ends are the same. Here's the other side of the boxes. Here's both manuals. The 2011 and the 1988. Also, I'd like to point out my 1988 Avante is actually Mark 1. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see the date on the book there, 0388. Pretty cool. Not the best looking manual, but it's all complete and all there. Both these cars come complete bore raced out of the box, which is really good. So I'm not going to go page by page in these manuals. I'll just point out the differences that I can see. First step in the book is to set the timing of the motor. In the 2011 you fit some sponge tape to the side of the gearbox plate. Yeah, it must have stopped a bit of vibration and wear rubbing up against it. On the original, the motor mount that goes onto the gearbox plate, you use screws and nuts to hold it in, whereas on the re-release, yeah, basically it just screws straight into them. So I'll show you a picture. So that's the re-release there. So it's got the screws going straight into there, whereas on the original, yeah, you got like the nuts there. So all the gears in both these cars are pretty much the same. Here's over the top of these cars. One thing that stands out a little bit is probably the decals. So we've got Space Tech Engineering, and on the other one we got Diablo Engineering. We got GR professional racing fuel. We got Bel-Ray Total Performance lubricants. We got the Weber K&N decal. Over here we got the RPM and exact springs. On the wing, probably can't really see it because it's black. So we've got Jackson wheels. And on the other one, we got Joker Customs. So the shocks are a different color as well. On the re-release, they are definitely more of a goldy color. And also on the suspension arm here, yeah, you see you got the two nuts here. Whereas on the original, yeah, you only got the one nut. I guess you can probably fit two nuts if you wanted to, but in the manual, yeah, it's just got the one nut fitted. Another thing that is different as well, the lower control arms on the front and rear, the nut that's there, yeah, it's just sort of like a plain nut, whereas on the original, like the nut sort of, it's got like a line in the middle of that nut. It's probably a bit hard to see in the video, but yeah, so that's one difference between the arms. As far as I know, the bodies are both the same. The differences would be that the holes are already pre-done in the original, and it looks like this bit here, yeah, might be already, yeah, pre-cut out as well. And always like in the original picture, yeah, like how they show how to brush it on. And in the re-release, yeah, it's telling you to cut out those holes and drill those holes. And then, yeah, and then you see it spraying as well. So one thing that really stands out is the motors as well. So you've got the legendary RX 540 VZ technical motor. And then in the re-release, yeah, we got the GT tuned special edition decal on the motor, Avante 2011 special, which is pretty cool as well. So the screws are all different as well. So in the original, yeah, they got the silver screws and gold screws in places, whereas got the black screws fitted in the re-release. Also the upper and lower decks, yeah, the carbon fibre definitely does look different, really pops on the re-release one. The driver and cockpits are pretty much the same, just the decals a little bit different on the front there. So here's underneath the cockpit, so you can see on the rear there, you got like a full panel there, whereas on the re-release, yeah, you don't there. And then also along the sides there, you got some support ribs also on the re-release. So yeah, so a couple of little differences underneath the cockpits. With the driver's helmets, the decals on the original, it's got Castrol on the side there, whereas on the re-release, yeah, we don't have that Castrol anymore. So in the 1988, I fitted the Tamiya AdSpec radio gear set. It's a very awesome set, really suits this car. Alright, do a little test just to make sure everything's all good. Everything works. In the 2011, I'm just using a FlySky transmitter and receiver. a 1060 Hobbywing speed controller, and just a 25 kilo steering servo. Now I'll do a quick test on the 2011 car, so that way you can see the differences. So in the rear, the shock tower is completely different in the original. How it bolts on, and just a complete design of it actually. You got the completely different. Also you got those top arms there with the 2 nuts either end, whereas on the original, just the 1 nut. Like I was saying before, you could fit 2 nuts if you wanted to, but that would be different in the manual. So, and if you are doing up a original 1988, just that rear shock tower, it's completely different. Here it is in the book as well. This is the original, how it all bolts together. It's actually called the rear damper plate. I called it the shock tower. Here it is in the re-release book. So completely bolts up different. Completely different. With most of the suspension components in the re-release car, you basically got to fit shims in here, so that way you get all the positions of all the components in the right places. So you can sort of see some shims fitted there, whereas in the original, no options for the shims at all. So so you just have to get it pretty close as possible. With the bottom screws that hold the rear uprights together, they are different. So in the original, they use like a screw pin type to hold all that together, whereas in the re-release, they used a step screw to hold all that together. So one screws into the upright itself, and then the other screws into the arm. So something to be careful with if you're replacing parts on your original with the re-release. Something to keep in mind. So the gearbox joints and drive shafts are completely different in these vehicles. So the gearbox joints, basically mainly just a different color, but on the rear they use like a dog bone type axle, whereas you basically got to put the axle together. It's like a universal type joint. It's probably a bit tricky to see in the car there. And then on the original, you got the dog bones in there. So with the front axles, so on the original, you got like a universal type shaft. On the re-release, same as the rears actually. You got to put the shaft together, universal type. It's probably a bit tricky to see it in the car there. And then on the original, you got the universal type down in there. Also in the front of these, in the re-release, you got like a little support here in the front diff housing, obviously to give some strength to the top of the shock tower. And then in the original, don't have the support there. So so very prone to braking on the original. So I guess that's why they upgraded and put that supports there. Probably a bit hard to see because yeah, it's black, but yeah, so that's something a bit different. Not sure if the Mark II Avante's different. I think it might be as well. As far as I know, the propeller shaft is the same in both these cars. I don't think they're any different. With the steering setup, they're pretty close, but they are a few differences. So you got the steering arm here, which attaches to the servo. It's completely different on the re-release car, and also on the steering bridge plate, which is this part here. It's different where basically the ball connector is. You got like a nut that holds the ball connector on there, whereas on the original, you got the ball connector there. So where it looks like it's probably like a press fit, and then they just flange the end out to hold the ball connector in there. So yeah, but apart from that, all the linkages are pretty much the same. I think the plastics on the rear release, I think they might be a little bit thicker than the original. Yeah, they look a little bit thinner on the original, but yeah, it could be the same without sort of measuring them properly, but yeah. So underneath these vehicles, obviously one thing that really stands out is the screw colours and the carbon fibre material look, and obviously the servos as well and the motors. One thing on the rear release, yeah, you got the non-recyclable bin symbol on there. That's pretty much on all the new Tamiyas now, whereas yeah, don't have that on the original as well. But pretty much underneath here, all look pretty the same. The wiring is a little bit different on how it secures in the original. It's pretty much done as how the book says it to do, and that's a little bit different in the re-release. So obviously, you know, improvements to tidy everything up and make sure there's no issues with the reissue. So the wheels and tyres are pretty much the same. On the re-release, the wheels are probably more of a lighter colour, I would say, but probably one of the biggest things is the wheel locking caps. So on the re-release, they got like little supports, yeah, sort of either side of that, whereas the originals don't. This one's actually cracked, so this is not real good, but it still holds it on. I probably wouldn't drive the car with this one, but yeah, you can sort of see the difference with them, sort of thing, with those supports, obviously to stop that cracking. So that's a prime example on the difference there as well. Well, I've got the wheels off as well, I thought I'd show you. So with the axle, so on the original has like a circlip holding the axle in, and then it's just got like a spline there where the hex hub goes onto the spline, whereas on the re-release, you just got the pin and then the hex that goes in there, and you got like a little grub screw to hold that in place. And also on the front, with the steering, obviously those uprights here, bit of a different colour as well, but yeah, on the originals, so in here it's just like a little pin that sticks out, whereas on the rear release, yeah, you've actually got like a little bolt that bolts in there as well, so yeah, a little bit of differences there. Also, one thing I forgot to point out before in the rear, so you got like a circlip holding that top arm on, whereas on the rear release, yeah, it's actually got a nut holding it on in there. Yeah, and also you can see that support tower, yeah, completely different as well. With the front shocks where they secure on the bottom there, don't know if you can sort of see, but there's a circlip holding the ball connector in on the original, whereas on the rear release you got like a screw or bolt that holds the ball connector there in place. So yeah, so a couple of little differences. Here it is in the book as well. So you've got the E-ring circlip to hold the ball pin in place. And then on the rear release, yeah, you just got the screw and the ball connector nut. So also with the shocks, where the bottom seal is, so you got to assemble this one in the rear release cars, so you can sort of see there, whereas in the originals, so they are already pressed in. It's like a different type, so you probably can't really see it that well in there. So well, that's about it as far as I know. Like I said, I've probably missed other things, but yeah, definitely appreciate your comments and your feedback. Yeah, would definitely like to know a bit more about them. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If you get the time, yeah, maybe check out some of my other videos. Thank you.